fans of the Halo series are used to its many different art styles. Whether it's the simple yet clear style of the original trilogy, the gritty and war-torn aesthetic of Halo Reach, or the detailed and complex look of the Reclaimer saga. But never have we ever seen such a different take on Halo's art style than Season 8 of the Master Chief Collection. These armor pieces, being not of this world, has opened up brand new possibilities for Spartan customization, but at a cost. While the production value of the pieces themselves are top-notch, they contrast heavily with the already existing armor. So, what if these helmets were remade to fit the classic art style of Halo 3? It's time to redesign Halo. Greetings, Vernissage here. In this episode of Redesigning Halo, we'll be taking a look at 5 of the new helmets from MCC Season 8 and see if we can redesign them to more closely fit Halo 3's art style. Now, as always, I mean no disrespect to the artists that came up with these designs. And if you like the helmets the way they are, then more power to you. I like them, I just think they could be remade to suit the rest of Halo 3's armor pieces better. Either way, give this video a watch and let me know what you think. Without further ado, let's begin. But first, today's sponsor. If you play any games today, especially mobile games, you know the feeling of going around a corner only for there to be a pay-to-win player on the other side, absolutely obliterating you. Well, that's why I switched to playing Mech Arena. Mech Arena is a competitive 5v5 shooter where skills and experience actually matter. In Mech Arena, everyone is on an even playing field at the start of the battle, so you can't just buy your way to victory. Winning in this game means you outsmarted your opponents. But what would a game be without its designs? The designs of these mechs are truly badass. I especially love the design of Zephyr, for obvious reasons. Gameplay-wise, Paragon is the perfect mech to start with, and with an autocannon in each hand, this thing puts out consistent damage, really suppressing anyone who dares getting close. What I like to do is fire one gun at a time, so when I have to reload, I can just start shooting with the other one. You can thank me later. And there are loads of events happening in-game right now, with amazing daily welcome rewards, all the way through the month, where you can get a bunch of awesome weapons, including Mech Arena's hottest new weapon, the Disc Launcher. On top of that, there's also a ton of special Halloween events to take part in, and some extra special Halloween skins to win. And what I love most about this game is that it's completely free to play on Android and iOS right now. And you can use my personal link or the QR code right here to get the Desert Digital Skin, 200 A coins, and 10,000 credits to help kickstart your game. And if you're quick, you can add me as a friend by using my player ID, and we can play some matches together, so don't wait around. Thanks Mech Arena for sponsoring this video. Now, on with the redesigning. What sets the Blackguard helmet apart from the other helmets is the prominent mouthpiece. Because of its size, the ventilation holes, and the metallic finish, this becomes the key feature of the Blackguard. A less prominent feature is the visor. The slim and separated eyes gives it a very unique look among Halo's Spartan helmets. And if the fantasy appearance wasn't clear enough yet, teeth-like protrusions have been placed on the forehead. As for the inspiration to these redesigns, I won't simply use one helmet this time around, to avoid making them too similar to the already existing helmets from Halo 3. Instead, I'll mention the ones that guided me through the process. For the Blackguard, I looked at Recon for a new take on the visor, and EOD because of its similar rectangular shape. And here's my redesign. While the Blackguard helmet is my personal favorite, I believe the visor could be a bit more exaggerated. So, I unified the two eyes, brought them down a bit, and made it bigger, seeing as the mouthpiece already somewhat separated the eyes. Speaking of the mouthpiece, I decreased the amount of holes and made them bigger, to make it more clear. The forehead saw the removal of the teeth, and in their place, lines that mimicked the momentum of them. This is one of those places where the original design isn't bad, it just didn't feel like Halo. And to finish it off, I gave the overall shape of the helmet some excitement by giving it some earpieces on each side. The result is a very aggressive design. While it traded some unique features for more traditional ones, it looks all the more Halo for it. Let me know what you think about this redesign. At first glance, Valdemar might give you the impression we're in a very different video game. The triangular eyes, the textured forehead, and most notably the horns, gives this helmet a medieval fantasy look like no other. But the helmet stands out in other ways as well. It has a very brutalist design language, with chunks of metal violently melded together, which just further reinforces the medieval inspiration. I once again used EOD as my inspiration, to give the helmet some more classic bulkiness, and for the more fantastical features, Hayabusa was a huge help. And this is my redesign. My goal with this design was to turn it into something the UNSC would actually produce, while still keeping some of the fantasy elements. And just like the Hayabusa did with its more organic parts, the horns were given a light grey color to stay as neutral as possible. I also made them a lot smaller to keep it somewhat practical. The rest of the helmet was just given a more compact and stable look by connecting most of the different parts. And finally, I gave it some EOD-esque tubes on the sides to balance out the horns. While looking fairly silly, the redesign is technically more similar to the old helmets, with its more mechanical and factory-produced appearance. Let me know what you think about this redesign. If you thought we were done with the fantasy look, then think again. Forsaken Dragon goes for an unusually smooth and organic aesthetic, even going as far as to place a dragon's head above the visor. The design is very much top-heavy, with its quote-unquote hair giving it a massive silhouette. To capture the fantastical aspects in a more traditional way, Hayabusa once again had a big influence over this. And this is my design. At surface level, I basically took the Forsaken Dragon and made it less exaggerated. But going in a bit deeper, there's a lot going on here. The most notable feature is the hair. Seeing as the Hayabusa showed us that organic shapes could exist in Halo 3, I kept the flowing look of it, only making it smaller and less protruding. And to some people's disappointment, I actually removed the dragon. I simply felt the hair was unique enough, so including even more risky elements could break the design. I kept the visor roughly the same, only making it bigger and more convex. I also took the already existing visor line and made it a bit more noticeable. Similar to Valdemar, I included some pieces on the side of the helmet, to give it more of a balanced look. And finally, the mouthpiece was given a bit more of a calm look, with some new lines to fill out the empty space. The Forsaken Dragon is still a rather unique looking helmet, even after its treatment, but the more subdued aesthetic makes it so it doesn't look completely out of place when compared to Hayabusa. Let me know what you think of this helmet. For those that require something a bit more spooky, there's the sorrowful visage. We've seen helmets in Halo before, which incorporate skulls in different ways, but a full-on skull with a visor in each eye socket is definitely new. Not only that, but the helmet also includes a hood, making it one of the most unique looking helmets of this season. To turn the helmet into something a lot more classic, I'll be using the Mark 6 as my inspiration, as well as the EOD. And here's my redesign. First thing you might notice is the fact that it's not a skull anymore. Well, not exactly at least. Instead of a literal skull, I thought the appropriate thing to do was to make it a helmet which resembled a skull. So I started building the helmet by going over the entire skull and turning what once was organic into chunks of metal. For the teeth, I simply made them act as vents, while still keeping the grin. And while I initially kept the eyes separated, I just thought I had to go all out in trying to make this look more conventional. As for the hood, well, it's a bit out there for Halo 3's art style. It's way too important of a feature for this helmet, so I kept it. And I mean, it's pretty badass. The result is a far cry from the source material, but the skull reference is just as clear. Let me know what you think about this redesign. And for the final helmet, I decided to go with the Norse mythology inspired Thyra. Like the Forsaken Dragon, its silhouette is quite big, with tall wings on each side, going down far beyond the edge of the visor. As for the visor, it's one of, if not the tallest visor in the game, filled to the brim with visor lines. As for the inspiration, I'll be looking at the Scout for the more pointy aesthetic, as well as the Mark 5, to give it some classic features. And this is my redesign. I wanted to keep as much as possible of the original design, while still making it fit that classic Spartan aesthetic. So I kept the wings, but I made them significantly smaller. I also made it so they don't go as far down as they used to, giving the design some needed practicality. The visor was stripped of all its lines, in place of a new simplistic one. I also made the bottom part much bolder, giving the visor some breathing room. For the top part, I made it more blocky and removed the gem from the forehead. And finally, I added some Mark 5-esque vents on the sides and made the top vents more prominent. Even if the wings might have been too much for Halo 3, they still give Thyra that Norse style that sets it apart from all the other helmets. Let me know what you think about this redesign. And there we have it. That's all the new helmets I redesigned for this video. All still very crazy looking, but with a touch of Halo 3's art style. Let me know what you think about these redesigns. Did I succeed in making them fit Halo 3's art style? Which one is your favorite? And there are more helmets from Season 8 I didn't have time to cover in this video, so let me know if you want to see those as well. If you liked this video, give it a like. If not, a dislike. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I wish you all the best, and take care. Vernissage out.